When you give up a relationship that is not good for you, that is self-love. When you give up a career that you know in your heart is not good for you, that is self-love. If you toil taking care of someone who does not deserve your love because you have been emotionally blackmailed, then that is not self-love.
Come to Brazil, Bruno, come to Brazil. Come to Brazil, Bruno, come to Brazil. Come to Brazil, Bruno, come to Brazil. Come to Brazil.
So let's talk about self-love. I mean, we were just talking about emotional, psychological, physical abuse. Those are very heavy subjects, very heavy. And I ended it with the prayer that that person, the afflicted individual, can get himself or herself out of it. And I feel, and I truly feel in my heart, that the only thing that can get you out of that is not intelligence, but it is self-love. You have to come to a point in your life that you love yourself so much that you are willing to give up a lot. Because I say give up a lot because yes, it is abuse, but it could be shrouded in wealth. It could be shrouded in blackmail. It could be shrouded in a lot of things that it is very hard to extricate yourself from that situation. And that is why self-love has to come into play. And what is self-love? Is it conceit? Is it selfishness? Self-love is just realizing that you want better for your life. You want better for your life. I will refer to the Bible, and I'm no Bible expert. We are children of Adam and Eve, and I know I've referred to this in the past. And therefore, we are sinners. And therefore, we will always be fallible, not infallible. We will always be imperfect. But God, or the universe, wants us, God and the universe, who is the picture of perfection, wants us to be perfect like Him. Just as parents want the best for their children. We always do as parents. If you're a good parent, you always want the best for your children. So, with that being said, I believe that God really wants us to transform ourselves into a human being that is the best version of themselves. Not perfection, but the best. And to get to that point, you have to have self-love. You have to choose yourself. They say there's unconditional love, and there is unconditional love. Unconditional love is your love for your children, my love for their children. I remember with my children, when they were growing up, and I would be in a relationship because of my experience. I would tell them, if anything happens to you, if there is any form of indiscretion, I just won't go into the detail, but you know what I mean. I said, you come to mom and tell mom, because mom will kill for you. I say that because of the world out there. And I'm not going to go into detail. But I wanted to instill in my children this total trust in me, and not to be fearful, because mom will always come through. Mom will always come through for them. That is unconditional love. I think I've seen unconditional love for human beings that love animals. That is unconditional love. But it is very hard to find in human beings. Why is that? Why is it hard to find in human beings? Because maybe we are inherently selfish. Maybe the human being is fearful, which is very common. Maybe the human being is insecure, which is very common. So, and even if you're the most transcendent person in the world, there will still be some form of self-protection. And that is when self-love comes into the picture. When you give up a relationship that is not good for you, that is self-love. When you give up a career that you know in your heart is not good for you, that is self-love. If you toil taking care of someone who does not deserve your love because you have been emotionally blackmailed, then that is not self-love. So, why is self-love important? Self-love is important because it is a path to happiness. Choose yourself, and that is going to take you to happiness. Would you say that self-love is conceit? Would you say that? Depending on the culture of the country, many will say that that is conceit. But I say that self-love is not conceit. If you've been beaten up and you stay on the excuse that you're doing it for your children, that is not self-love. If anything, you are giving the wrong example. The children are going to perceive you as weak, and they were going to absorb that, internalize that, and may even in the future live a life just like that. So if you love yourself and if you love your children, then practice self-love. It is not conceit. Conceit is when you think so highly of yourself and you don't even deserve it. That is conceit. Self-love is just an act of love for yourself so that you can give more love. Because how can you give love if you do not even love yourself? That is the difference between self-love and conceit. Self-love is when you accept all the gifts that God has given you so that you can give back to the world. And it doesn't even have to be the world. It could be to your children. It could be to your community. It could be to your friend. But self-love will also see that you cannot be used. You have to stay in a place of authenticity. You have to stay in a place of integrity. Not the illusion of making yourself believe that, oh, such and such loves me, and therefore I have to do this for the person, even if you have already been used. That is not self-love. Difficulties accepting self-love? Unless they really think about it. I have a dear co-worker. His name is Efren, and I will talk about him later. He's a sweet, sweet man. And when I talk like this, he says, I don't want to think. I don't want to think. He says that. So, for people who are introspective, for people who are cerebral maybe, not so much. Cerebral is more about the brain. So for people who are spiritual, for people who are seeking the truth, for people who are seeking to have a better life, then they embrace self-love. They embrace the fact that they are gifted with whatever gifts they are given from God, and they are altruistic enough, giving enough, loving enough, And they have that energy to love because they love themselves. They have all that energy to give back. They have all that drive, indefatigable drive to give back to the world. That is self-love. Cut. So I'm buying this, which is for incense. I'm buying this necklace where you put oils, and I'm walking around inspired by the oil. I'm buying feminine woman pottery, which I can use every day.